Hi everyone, welcome to the Trench World. Today we'll kind of take a little journey through this world and learn kind of about like the technical side of world building for VR and kind of my creative process. My main idea came from because I participated in the XR Student Linked Up when I was in PXR 2021 when I was in school at Lethbridge College. And the idea there was to create a world using a lot of 3D space, which I feel like I kind of did the same thing here because we're in VR. VR is about using your open space. Another main goal is to create a really immersive, responsive environment by using audio synchronization for music, creating like the fish movement with something called Boids, which is an algorithm that makes fish move in games and worlds, and also about like levels of detail for 3D models, and so where they disappear and appear as you're closer to them. First thing I'll go into is levels of detail. So as we go through the trench hole, you'll notice all the models are changing and appearing as we get closer. If you look at the coral as we walk by in a minute, you'll see the bubbles disappear or they reappear as you get closer to certain corals. LODS is used to show low resolution models when you're further away, so they appear distorted or less detailed, and more detailed when you're closer, so you can fit more detail and more models into a world without hitting your limit. Because in VR, you have a very small limit on how many 3D models you can have in a scene, in a world. So we will make our way to this side of the trench where I'll talk about the fish, where we can see them a bit better. But on the way there, you can kind of see about the LODs of the world and how they're changing. So we'll stop here because this is a good point. If you look up from here, you can see all the fish. They're swimming around kind of thing. They're all over the trench area, and these fish are using something called a Boyd system, which simulates natural behavior of fish in a world or a game. Each fish follows three main rules when swimming around. They align themselves with the other fish. They try to go to the center of like the zone they're in if they're too far away, because each of these fish are stuck in a certain zone, so they don't endlessly wander through walls or the world kind of thing. The fish also have like something called goal-oriented behavior, where they pick a certain spot and they go to it, and then they pick their next spot. So they go to a spot, they get there, they pick the next spot, and that just kind of adds more realism, so they're not just swimming aimlessly around. So you can see fish all throughout we go the world. Now it'll take us to the next part, which is my favorite, is the audio synchronization with music at the end. We'll all walk this way down into the trench.
Wow, so awesome. I love this. Oh,
Okay, everyone should be able to hear me louder now. I'll just wait for the last people to. But as you can look around you, you can see the choral, the logos, the dance are all in sync to the music. They're all pulsing and living with the music. This is using VRChat's audio link feature, which processes audio in the world and converts it into streams. and these streams interact with the code and shaders to make the audio make the 3D models interact with the audio. It analyzes the beat and rhythm. All right, we'll start our Q&A now. You can ask me, Miles, or William any questions. Does anyone have any to start? You can just raise your hand or come up to the conch cell. And then just come stand in the conch cell. Yeah, I see you. Yeah. And then everyone can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much, Cole and Miles. Like, this world is amazing. That's an understatement. And my question is, for the Boyd feature, is that like a form of AI? Like, so do you put in prompts and then it attaches, or is it like a plugin?
It's kind of like a plugin, like a system where like you can tell how many fish, where they're supposed to go, like how big the wander area is, the scale of them, and they just move around by code. They just like, the code just pushes them at the scene.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was my main question. And just honestly, this is incredible, and it does everything that I love about XR, which is put me somewhere magical that I could never go in my human body. So, woo!
Okay,
I'm really impressed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, woo! Thank you.
Thank you. If anyone else has any questions, you can just come up to the conch shell and step in.
Oh, hi, Jake.
Oh my god, that was the rudest way to come in. I feel like I stood on somebody's head. Hey y'all. So I was singing their praises before, but yeah, congratulations to all of you for this incredible world. And my question, which I started to ask before, but maybe you all could expand on it, is what are some facets of world building in VR chat that you all are curious about creating now that you've created this iteration of PXR? So now that we're here, where are you thinking about going next?
Honestly, darling, I love you.
Well, I've actually already had an idea of what the next world I want to build is. I was thinking about building another very large, expansive world that takes place in the Feywild, which is a magical realm in Dungeons and Dragons. And like the main area would be like a big castle, and I was hoping to have like these types of effects that Cole knows how to do now, as like a way to, you know, crank the saturation to 11 and create like something that seems unreal, and something like Debbie was just saying is something you can't see in your regular human body. So yeah, I want to create like a large medieval magical like high fantasy type of world. And there's honestly big differences between VR chat and Altspace, because we have hosted an Altspace usually, but unfortunately Altspace is gone. Rest in peace, Altspace. But VR chat allows us to do so much more, and now that we've done it and we have a good idea of how these things work, I think we're really going to be able to create some like huge, awesome, magical worlds. And in my case, I want it to literally be a magical world. How about you, Cole?
I think this world really set the idea of like how I kind of want most of the worlds to go. It's like a very big space like Miles, but the immersiveness, the shaders, the colors, that's kind of what I really like about world building. That's kind of my idea for every world I do. I want to make it better and bigger than the last one.
And how about you, Liam? Now that we can, you know, kind of do much more custom and specific things than we could in Altspace.
Yeah, I mean, working with you two has been a joy, but also just the amount of more things that are possible, like, is just, you know, it just feels like a new horizons opened up. Like, there's just so many things we can do now because of the platform, and also because of all the crazy, amazing work you guys have done. Watching how our users have interacted with the worlds that you've built has given me so many ideas for where we could go next. So yeah, I mean, rest in peace, alt space. But like, all hail VR chat. You know, if that makes sense. Yeah. End of thought.
Yeah. We got 3 minutes, so we probably got enough time for another question. If anybody would like to come up and ask a question.
Yeah, so like as you guys say, like I'm like the world is so big, and that's like really cool and impressive. And I'm just like wondering, like, was there anything else that you guys had to do for optimization, like besides like level of detail to get it small? Like I noticed on the way in this world is like in the 90s, like megabytes. Like anything else that you had to do for optimization to achieve this kind of scale?
Mine was a lot through the lot, and like texture size was a lot because we could reuse like there's like something called noise maps, which are like black and white patterns, which are just different noises, and those when you scale them add different patterns to things. So we have like maybe like 2 normal maps and 2 noise maps that are on everything. So it's like the same textures on everything. We just use solid color to change the color of things. Because it gives it that texture with a noise map. Like that, if you look at the ground, you can see the difference, like the brown. That's kind of like a noise map would show different shades of colors, depending on the grayscale values. If it's gray, it shows it like middle values.
Yeah,
that was kind
and
of
the way that we managed to make it. And the way we managed to actually make it look like it's different, like materials, like that's actually rock and this is actually sound, is that noise map that we have shared between all the different materials is just tiled in very different ways. Because typically you would tile it up the proper way so that it is in like the right scale of resolution for the screens that are being used or the game that's being made. But also, if you stretch one side of that image, you can kind of make lines go through it that are longer than they should be from the noise map. And that's how we get these different types of... That's how it doesn't all look exactly the same.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you.
Hey girl, how you doing? You are the woman that I'm really pursuing, and I would like to get to know you. Can you give me your name?
Well, I think
Okay, I think that's
yeah. Go ahead, Cole.
I was gonna say the same.
Go for
thing.
it.
I think we're out of time now.
Yeah, I think we are out of time. Thank you all for coming. Just a reminder, our future note, Tamara is going to share with us her thoughts in about an hour, so please check that out. And then 2 hours after that, our closing ceremonies with our X-Artist Showcase presentation, always one of my favorite pieces of the conference. So that's all still in store today. Hopefully we'll see you at both of those events because they're going to be amazing. And thank you all so much. And thank you, Miles and Cole, if I may. It's, again, great work, and it's a pleasure.
No, I'm good. Thank you, Liam. Thanks for that closing.
Yeah, and just thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for all of the praise we've been getting for these worlds. It really like helps us want to create bigger and better things.